Harvestella is an action-adventure JRPG developed by Square Enix, available on PC and Nintendo Switch. This game consists of a story-rich narrative with the addition of some farming, combat, and collection systems. In classic JRPG fashion, the story begins with a case of amnesia. You're found by a local doctor wandering around the village during quietus, which you'll discover is a day that separates the seasons, where an unknown substance floats through the air that can be deadly if breathed in. Unsure of who you are and where you've come from, that will soon get pushed to the side as a mysterious object crash lands in the village you're in, where another injured outsider is discovered. The mayor graciously provides you with a house to live in just outside of town, where you and this injured individual take residence. From there, you learn how to run the farm to earn some money and discover the history of the seaslights that are located near each village. Each seaslight is linked to a season, and they are essentially worshipped by the people as they are thought to be divine objects. Along with the object that has crashed near the town that you live in, you hear of other strange occurrences linked to the other seaslights, so you set out to investigate what's happening. With your new humble beginning as a proud farm owner, you can look forward to tending to crops, caring for some animals, and crafting artisan goods with a variety of different crafting machines. Your farm is quite large, consisting of many different areas where you can fish, collect resources, plant crops, and house animals. Crops are limited to certain seasons in this game, but most are quite quick to grow. Beginning with a smaller section of farmable land, this can be upgraded at a local store to provide you with more space to farm. There are 2 animals that you can house, both requiring you to purchase the construction upgrade at a local shop, where you'll also be able to buy further upgrades to increase the amount of animals that you can have. The barns are in a pre-designated area, cannot be moved or designed in any way, and cannot be entered either. As you progress through the story, you'll meet some delightful fairies that will assist you with your farm. These fairies provide a collection book for you to complete, with basic farm and exploration tasks that will provide you with various rewards in return for completing them.
You did it!
I'll touch on this a bit more later, but I absolutely loved this. The world consists of several different areas, each with their own seaslight and a sort of unique theme. So the area with the spring seaslight has a beautiful town surrounded by cherry blossoms, the winter seaslight has a snowy town, and so on. These towns are surrounded by some wild areas where you can battle monsters, collect materials, and complete the odd quests. There is a large assortment of monsters that you can battle, each having different attacks and weaknesses. You'll have several combat techniques that you can choose from to equip, each having different attacks and special abilities. You'll also be able to travel with companions that you meet throughout your journey who will fight alongside you. Personally, I didn't really like the combat. I found it nearly impossible to avoid attacks, and also very limiting in how much food you can eat to restore health, so I got very frustrated every time I died. Harvestella consists of a main quest similar to Breath of the Wild, where you can kind of complete it when you want and even in what order you want. There are a huge number of side quests to complete as well, both to increase your companion relationship and just generally throughout the world for a way to earn some money. These side quests mostly consist of you going to various places, but can also require you to fight monsters or collect an item, so really not much variation there at all. Along with the farm collection book you have to complete, you'll also have sections in your menu with how many meals you've cooked, all the fish that you've caught, and more to complete if you're into that sort of thing. Keeping in mind I played this on the Switch, my opinions on this game's graphics are not great. First off, and I'm sure you've probably picked this up already, but the game comes off a bit blurry, specifically with the characters. I noticed this straight off the bat and was quite shocked given who the developers are and how much this game costs. I've heard this only affects the Switch version and does not happen on PC, but it's such a shame as an otherwise great looking game just looks very average at best. I will note though, while very obvious when you first start playing the game, I honestly didn't notice it after a while. So do with that what you will. Blurriness aside, I love the art style and the exotic look of the world with glowing mushrooms and bright coloured crystals. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the soundtrack for me was a solid 10 out of 10. They have several beautiful songs that play throughout this game depending on the mood and the location. I often found myself just hanging around in an area to listen to the songs before I moved on. They had that classic Square Enix vibe to them and reminded me very fondly of Kingdom Hearts music. The soundtrack does an excellent job of setting the mood of a situation, whether it be lighthearted, sad, or dangerous. Moving on to the menu system, I found it very pleasing to the eye, simple to use, easy to navigate, and also quite satisfying to use due to the sound effects. This was definitely another headphone game for me.
Bye bye!
100% honesty here, the collection system was probably the thing that made me love this game. I'm a total simp for a good collection system. It just gives me a reason to do things and stops me from getting bored too quickly. In Harvestella, I found that this kept me farming and doing other odd tasks past the point where I wasn't that interested in earning money anymore, purely because I wanted to complete the collection. Oddly enough, one of my other favourite things about this game was watering my crops. It was so satisfying to do. Farming wise, what I didn't like so much was the controls for the tools. As you use your tools, the game locks you into a direction for a few seconds and it's just so annoying. While it can be a little helpful in the right situation, for the most part it's just frustrating and a very unnecessary aspect. Also, for a game named Harvestella, I think the farming aspect in general was a bit of a letdown. There is basically little to no farm and house customization and minimal farm animals. Normally I wouldn't mind this, but I just don't understand why they decided to call it Harvestella, when in reality the farming is merely a background part to make some money. I also found the game just took a bit too long to get going, and I can really see why that may have turned a lot of people off. You are absolutely blasted with cutscenes in the first few hours, and it gets really frustrating as you keep getting interrupted. From there, it also takes a while to really unlock the game's potential, with traveling to different areas, unlocking better tools, side quests, and so on. So keep that in mind. While I found the main quest to be quite interesting, at least for the most part, I found the side quests to be a complete bore. Most of these quests involved helping a child to do something or finding someone who ran away, just quite random, meaningless quests with a ridiculous amount of dialogue. Your character also just keeps butting into everyone else's conversations too, which I just found a bit weird. Lastly, as I touched on before, I didn't like the combat. I don't often play JRPGs, so I'm not sure if this style is just the standard for these type of games, but overall I found it very frustrating. No dodge ability at the start meant I kept getting hit, and then when I finally unlocked that ability, it did nothing to help. Even being far away from monsters, I was still continuously hit. As someone who isn't always a fan of JRPGs, I really love this one, even though I did have quite a few issues with the game. I thought it was set in an interesting world that grabbed my attention from the get-go, and I was generally curious about how the story would play out. In the end, without those collections to complete, I can honestly say I probably would have gotten bored much quicker. I can appreciate why this game might not be for everyone, and I think it really just comes down to how much of the farming aspect you are wanting, and whether or not you like really story-heavy games. Thank you so much for watching my video, I really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and feel free to leave a like or a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!